Hey guys, welcome back to the dungeon. Today I'm starting on a new project. It's something a bit different. I'm making a three-dimensional board for a Settlers of Catan game. And this is going to be sort of a work diary of me working and going through the process of going through all the phases of making the board. And I hope you guys find it interesting. So the first thing I did was make some prototypes of the tiles that I was going to make. I took some Das air-dried clay and put it in the grid that I laser cut for the board, and I let them dry. Once they were dry, I took them out. And the first tile I was going to try to make was the ore piece. To do that, I took some PVA glue, put it on the dried tile, and started forming up the rough shapes of the mountains using this tiny village that I 3D printed to make sure that I was leaving room for the number. Now to start out, I just tried to make the rough shape, not something specific, and I was going to shape it later with my sculpting tools to create differing heights and sort of a mountain range look. Once I had the rough shape, I took the sharp edge of my tool and started creating cuts going up and down the mountain, sort of what you can see on a map in a fantasy book. Something that I was also kind of getting interested into lately. It was very important to me that I would have room to put cities and villages in the intersections. So I made sure to leave room on each corner and not build up the terrain all the way to the corner. So you'll see me have flat edges on all my tiles. And when the mountain was roughly formed, I decided that what I really needed to make everything look realistic was a river flowing from the mountain and into the plains. So I took some more dust and I shaped some lower mountains around the central one to create a mountain valley. And with my tool, I created a small lake basin and a river flowing out of it. No, it's very important to note that Das is very easy to work with. It dries without you needing to bake it. It's very easy to shape and form, but it flakes and it cracks. And it dries sometimes too quickly when you need it, when you're working on very fine detail. So I worked very quickly. And I didn't mind cracks and roughage a bit because these were mountains and it was cracks would only add to the realism. So I worked quickly and I'm pretty happy with how it worked out. Sadly, some of the video was corrupted, but I can tell you that I painted the base coat for the area around the mountain with Spring Green by Apple Barrel, and I painted the entire mountain in a base coat of Grey Wolf by Martha Stewart Crafts. And then I came back with some light shades of gray to highlight the edges of the texture. When the mountain was done, I took some sky blue and painted the mountain river with some deeper blue for the lake, dry brushing the entire mountain to just accentuate the curves and the texture, going from darker shades to lighter shades. When I was done with the mountain, I came back to the greenery around it with some darker shades to emphasize the deep and dark areas around the mountain, and with some lighter shades to create a feeling of a bit more variation in the greenery. After the paint dried, I came back with some dark washes and gave only the mountain a covering and wash. The wash was going to accentuate all the crevices and recesses of the mountain. And if you don't know, dark wash is basically black and brown acrylic paint watered down with water to create this very runny, inky feel. You can also use ink for this. I'd be careful though. When the wash was done, I came back with some lighter shades of gray to white and dry brushed the entire mountain, making sure to lighten the color on the upper edges of the mountain, keeping it dark at the bottom. And then I used some greens to just soften up the edges of the mountain where it meets the greenery to make the connection a little bit more seamless. And of course, touched up the river just to make it more accentuated. Now I assumed my girls will want this piece for our home Settlers of Catan game, so I painted the edges in black to keep it nice, and I was done. I hope you guys liked this video and found it interesting. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys here on my next work diary. Goodbye.